obviously excited to get to game week. Been a really, really good fall camp. I'm really proud of our football team, just the work that they put in. It all stretches back to January when we got started to push, to progress, to improve, to get to this point. And I do feel that we have a team that is prepared at a very high level. They've worked extremely hard. The size, speed, athleticism, overall football intelligence, I think have all improved within our team. We're excited for the opportunity that's ahead and a chance to go out with our first game and work to go put the best version of ourselves out on that field next Sunday night. And we talk a lot about the identity of a team, and I see one that like I said has a great work ethic. Really care about each other. They pushed and competed throughout, and we still need every rep and every minute leading up to kickoff to continue to get better, to be ready for Sunday night. But so excited to be on this stage, an opportunity to showcase our players, and obviously this wonderful institution. I think health wise, going into this week, I like where we are. I think we're going to get a few guys that have kind of had some bumps and bruises along the way in fall camp. I think we're going to get most of them back here for this week. We'll make an announcement. He wasn't on the depth chart. Ja'Kai Douglas will miss a few games. You'll hear early in the season. You'll fully expect him back. Relatively soon, but he will miss for sure this first contest, probably the first couple, as we head into this season. But like I said, I like where our team's at. We've got a lot of work here throughout the course of this week in our final preparation. But really proud of this team and the coaching staff for all the work that's gone in to get us to this point.
Ira, on your right.
You guys had some great position battles. The preliminary depth chart is out. I know it's not set in stone. But when you look at the tight end position, you have returning Marquise was returned as a starter. What have Kyle and Jaheim shown you through preseason to get the nod?
I think that entire tight end room, we're going to have at least 4 guys that play, because Preston Daniel will also be able to make an impact, within our team. But you see the versatility, just the consistency. I think Kyle has been, he's been really good, and just all the things that he can do, the way that he's, his approach, his physicality, what he does in a route game. Great ball skills. He's a really good football player. Jaheim, once again, his versatility, the explosiveness that he shows. One of the things I've been so proud with Jaheim is, coming in, it's easy to watch film and to see what somebody does with the ball in their hands. And I think Jaheim's really embraced the role of being better, without the ball in his hands. As a blocker, as some of the finer technique and fundamentals. And I think Coach Thompson's done a great job with that group. And Marquiston's had a really good fall camp. He's such a big target. He's a threat. Over 280 pounds, but he runs very, very well, and I think he's going to be somebody that's going to make a lot of great plays for us this year. So that's a position that I've been pleased with, and just the development of all those guys, and what they can do for this team. It just adds different levels to that in our attack.
Come to Brendan here on your left.
Looks like based on the depth chart that Destin Hill has worked himself into having a pretty prominent role, both offense and maybe special teams. What has he done as a true freshman? Someone's obviously had a different journey to get here to position himself to have that role.
He's kind of showcased it all. He's explosive. He's smart. He's done really good things with the ball in his hands. He's a definitely a very willing blocker, and something that we pride ourselves here with our receivers. And he's a good route runner. There's still going to be a lot of things that he's going to figure out along the way. He is a true freshman. Coming in, he's put himself in a position competing to start for us, here early. But I think that just his mindset, his approach, all things, and then he's been productive. At the end of the day, you have to go out there and you have to produce, with that ability. And so, I'm definitely proud of him for the work he's put in, and he's going to help this football team this year.
Next will be Jack, second row on the left.
Have you guys put a plan in place or preparations for the pending storm that may or may not come this way? And idea of whether that may impact the game or anything like that as of now?
Yeah, we you know, obviously something that we're tracking, you know, just for our guys here, and, you know, we get great communication, university, athletic department, all things that we're aware of, but, you know, right now we always will have plans if things need to adapt and adjust, but it's not something that we're thinking is gonna, you know, at this time make a huge impact for our preparation this week, or what, you know, that would be for the end of the week towards the game.
You get to hear Jared Verse usually walking into practice, and you see him on the game field of how talkative he is. Is he that talkative away from football? Is that his personality?
Jared likes to talk, and so he's I mean, he's a great young man. And you know, he plays this game with tremendous passion. You know, he is to see where he was a year ago, the impact that he had, you know, on the field, you know, really coming into this program, and you know, I think, you know, his actions have spoke even louder than what his words are, you know, and just, you know, how much he means, you know, how much this team means to him, and how much his teammates mean to him, and you know, the opportunity to get better, and I think we've seen that, and that's where, you know, everybody has their style, and you know, for Jared, you know, it's he likes to talk, but it's always being in control of himself in those situations. I think he's grown in that, he's matured, you know, in just, you know, his approach with that. But you know, I've loved the work, and you know, expecting big things from him this year, and you know, if his actions speak louder than his words, then we're going to be in great shape here.
Stay here for Chris.
You and Alex Atkins have talked often about having 8 linemen you trust to win games. What has that group shown you, and where do you think that group's taken a leap forward from a season ago, maybe?
You know, I think you know, just the consistency and execution, the ability, the size, the strength. I mean, you know, those guys have all developed, and you know, whether you have the newcomers that have joined, whether, you know, Jeremiah, Casey, you know, KJ. I mean, those guys are all very experienced football players that have played at a high level. And you look at the guys that have returned, and you know, some of the new, you know, even guys that were, you know, young in their process. I mean, just the way that they've grown, you know, through their time here. I think Alex has done a great job in the developmental part of it, in knowing what to do and how to do it. And then, you know, Coach Storms and his staff, just the physical development has really helped us. And you know, these guys, they embrace the mental part of it. You know, you play an offensive line, you know, you have to be versatile, because you know, it's just the different combinations, the different things that can happen. If somebody goes down, somebody has to step up. You know, it might mean, you know, playing multiple positions, and we try to challenge our guys in those ways. But they really, you know, embrace that part of it. And I think when you see the way that they work to communicate with each other, you know, whether it's 2 guys that have played one spot, you know, together, or you know, one of them have to flip to the other side. You know, they understand the importance of that communication and the consistency of how they practice, and you know, obviously building the relationships with the guys that are you know, lined up with them.
Go to Corey, second row on the right.
This is the 4th straight year that Coach Kelly has coached against Jordan Travis. What is different about the guy he's going to see on Sunday night? And I'm sure it's a lot compared to the guy he saw in South Bend in 2020.
You know, I think, you know, Jordan's always been an explosive player, and you know, I think you look back, you know, even to that game, I mean, he had a lot of explosive plays, and really, you know, helped put us in a position to have some success that night. And you know, you've seen the complete player, and you know, the explosiveness that he had with his legs, and you know, even the moments with his arms, just the consistency of what he does in the passing game. You know, the control, you know, of the offense, the confidence that he has in the situations and what he's being asked to do. You know, whether it's, you know, 5 receivers out having to manage empty protections, or you know, whether, you know, he's got to go under center and you know, have run checks, you know, to what he might see. I mean, to having to drop back and, you know, have somebody pressure him in his face and be able to step into the throw and make a precision pass. He's done it all now to this point. So that experience, you know, and then just the confidence of being in it. And you know, he's a tremendous worker, and I think he literally earned everything that he's gotten. And you know, I think that showed up in his game. And you know, I love what I've seen. I love the way that he's approached, you know, fall camp. I think we talked about Jared, but you know, Jordan's such a great example of when your best player goes out there and he plays at the level and practices at the level which he does. it's hard for everyone else not to rise up to that. And I mean, he is literally every practice, every rep, whether it was a day in helmets or a day in full pads. I mean, he has attacked every rep that he's had, and I've loved that. And I think he's put himself in a position to have the best year that he's had, and definitely he's a special player.
Stay there for Ira.
A lot of the transfers you guys have brought in the last few years have done more here than maybe they did at the previous schools for whatever reasons. How hard is it then to prepare for a team that's got a lot of transfers that maybe didn't do a ton of the previous, some guys didn't do a ton of previous schools, but not knowing what that's gonna look like at their new school?
Yeah, we try to evaluate each player. That's one of the new elements of college football. I mean, when you're playing a team that has a lot of guys that played other places, you try to get the best sense of their skill set, things that they maybe like to do, where it is reactionary movements, offensively, defensively. Where are their strengths? What are areas that you've seen in the past where maybe you could try to take advantage of a thing or two, but ultimately when the game gets there, you got to go play. And just like our team has gotten better from where it was a year ago, fully expected LSU is going to be better than where they were as they ended the season. And so and it's going to be a great matchup, and guys that have come in from the outside that are now in their starting lineup or are going to play a lot. We try to have as much information as possible, but you got to go out there and you got to play the game, and you got to be able to react to what you see, and fully expect that every player you're going to step against is going to be better than what they've been. But that's our challenge. We got to do the same.
We'll go Kurt, front row to your right.
Last year, so many unknowns about that LSU team. Had been their first game, entirely new coaching staff, a lot of new players. I guess how valuable now having that year to be able to study? I know they have plenty of new pieces, but I guess what did you learn from kind of the extensive study about, and how did that team grow last year and now into this offseason?
They're really good. It was a good team that we played at in our week 2, and they ended up growing and gelling together, and obviously that's evidence in winning the SEC West last year. And this is a team that they are very talented. Offensively, they return a lot of production. Some guys that were young that got thrown out there early. You saw them develop. Obviously, Daniel's the quarterback. He was a very talented young man, not only with his arm, but what he can do with his legs. You had to account for him in every way. You saw their running game could continue to take form as the season went on. Probably going to be one of the best receiving corps that we play all year. Here kicking off the season. I mean, it's a very talented and deep group. They got quality tight ends. Defensively, the defensive front. Linebackers. Harold Perkins. He didn't play much against us last year, and one of the more dynamic players in all of college football. So you see the elements of all things offensively and defensively, and I mean it's they did much of the same of what I believe we did. They got better throughout the course of the year. They won some close games. Obviously they built their confidence, in what they were being asked to do and how they were asked to do it. And so, I mean, this is it's going to be a heck of a matchup, and it's going to have a championship type feel to it, just because you have two teams that have experience and that I think are really talented.
Go to Aslan in the back right corner.
This will be the 3rd straight year. You're the first game of the year for Brian Kelly coach team. Like, is there enough familiarity that gives you both maybe comfort, or is there still going to be an element of surprise that'll come into play maybe at the beginning of the game?
I mean, Coach Kelly is a great coach. I mean, he's done it for a long time and had success, everywhere that he's ever been. So, he's always every year presents his own challenges, and it's one of those things that when you respect the people you go against, you understand there is familiarity. We've competed for years, even before I was at Arizona State. We competed against him, even back years back when I was at Tulsa. Got a chance to see how he operates and what he does within his program. He's does a wonderful job in adapting to his personnel of who he has, what they do, whether it's offensively, defensively, special teams wise. So I mean that's what makes great coaches. And he's established himself as that throughout his career, and so we have to do a wonderful job in our preparation and our adjustments throughout the course of the game. But the first games they're always they're always unique in their own right, and you end up preparing for so many different things that you got to truly focus on yourself, and that's one of our big points of emphasis is making sure that fundamentally, technique wise, communication, situationally aware. We got to be at our best, and then we'll be able to react to all the things that they do.
We'll go to Essen, second row on your left.
Be the first two part of the season. Obviously Mason Smith's out for this game. What impact does him not playing have, and how deep is that room that they still have on that defensive line?
I mean, it's one of the better defensive lines in the country, and obviously, it truly is unfortunate for that young man to miss this game. I mean, he's a special player, and it was in our game last year. I mean, I think it was the 6th, 7th play of the game when he got hurt, and it was just he's one of those guys that for everything that I've ever known of him. I mean, he's a guy that you want to root for and how he does things. It's just unfortunate that he's not going to be able to be a part of this game, but so it does make an impact because he is very, very impactful. But when you look at their defensive line, I mean, this is a deep group. This is one that's very talented. They know how to impact the quarterback, and they've done a wonderful job throughout the years. And then even some of the other newcomers that have joined the program, we got a chance to see what from their previous institution. I mean, this is gonna be a deep group that definitely has talent.
We'll go to Jordan, third row on the left.
Hey, Coach, UNC expects to hear back from the NCAA in the next couple of days about Tess Walker. Do you have an update on Daryl Jackson and the waiver process and his eligibility going to this year?
Yeah, that's something we're continuing to seek more guidance from on any reevaluation of the process, and all due respect to decisions that are made. I mean, I still find it unfortunate for the young man. In December is when he chose, for his situation to go into transfer portal, and there in January, a new standard was signed in, with the NCAA, and on January 11th, and he had been enrolled here. So, I'm hopeful that that's something that's still getting looked at. It's one of the things that we're continuing to check back on. But Daryl's he's practicing, he's preparing. You never know how things are going to go. Whether it's if it upholds where he's not eligible to play, then he's going to continue to prepare to be his best. I've respected so much his attitude and approach throughout this fall camp after finding out the news that it was denied. But obviously, always hopeful that that's something that will be reevaluated by the powers that be, and if he does get cleared, that whether it's before the game or whether it's at some point during the season, he'll be ready. And so we're going to continue to go through that, and just hopeful.
Come back to Chris on the front row.
On a depth chart, Ryan Fitzgerald won a kicking job. Can you talk about that battle between him and Tyler, and also Keon Coleman as a punt returner? Obviously, a little bit of a unique looking body at punt returner.
Yeah, I think Ryan's done a remarkable job, and so has Tyler. I mean, those guys is probably as tight of a battle of any position battle we've had. And you talk about competition within our team, and I think that's one of those competitions that were. It was two really, really good performances. It just Ryan was a little bit more consistent throughout, and has earned the opportunity to be our starting kicker. Tyler is a wonderful player. He's got he will be prepared. He will be ready if need be. But that's it still goes back to what's been done during practice and how guys have performed. And I know those guys. They've enjoyed the competition with each other, and they definitely helped each other and supported each other. So we've been excited about where that room is right now. Keon as a punt returner, obviously he's a dynamic athlete. He is a bigger punt returner, 6'4", 215 pounds, but he's got great confidence back there. Has really, really good range to be able to get to a lot of different kicks. It's one of the things that's been a great competition. Lawrence Toafili, Destin Hill, those guys of old, Dre Jacobs, have all been guys that have been a part of that. We've got some other guys that we do think have great futures back there in that role. But Keon, I think, gives us a wonderful chance to be able to help create some explosive plays in that regard. So definitely excited about what I've seen from him.
Go back to Ira, you're right.
Can you, describe how far DJ Lundy has come since you guys got here to now, for him to be a co-starter, I guess? With you?
Yeah, I mean, he's played so much football since his true freshman year, and he's been in it. I think when you see DJ when he was in high school, his junior year, I mean, basically he was all running back. That's what was his main priority. Then started playing linebacker senior year in high school. Very talented young man. He's done so much to help this team. Really on both sides of the ball. He's been utilized as their fullback, but he's one of our best football players. And I think the mindset, the approach. He's going to play a lot, and I view it as we have 3 starting linebackers. I really love what I'm seeing from Omar Graham. I think Blake Nicholson's going to play this year. I think Justin Cryer going to play this year. Those guys are that's been a group that I think is by far the most depth we've had since we've been here. But it's also with top quality players, young men, the way that they've operate together. I mean, you're going to see that combination of those 3 in a lot of different ways. And but I think DJ's definitely performed as good as anybody probably on our football team, and just the growth of what he's been able to do. His understanding, the kind of the same thing we talked about, just the confidence of what he's being asked to do, and then just the finer details of how to do it. He's tough, he's fast, he's he's physical, and I love where he's at right now.
We'll go to Essen, second row on your left.
Obviously, Winston Wright has come a long way since last year with his the car accident injury. What was his reaction when he found out he was the co-starter, and just how big is it for him to even be in this situation right now?
Well, I mean, Winston knows he's put himself in a position to help his football team, and that's something that a year ago, we were all hopeful, but I mean, he had to go through a long and tough journey to get back to this point, and to see him confident, to see his speed, the explosiveness, being put back on display. He had a great play Sunday night where, those are the moments when you have the game taken away from you, and there is question whether you're going to maybe ever play again, to be able to get back out and to see and to feel, what you were, and it was a hard journey for him. But I mean, I compliment him, his family, his dad and I. We text all the time. I got that phone call the night where it happened, and I remember, I'll never forget talking to his dad, and to see him back on the field and having a chance to be able to help this football team is really special. And I'm grateful for Winston and just the work that he's put in, but excited to see him get out there and play.
So good. All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.